Hello, and we're talking research journals today. So your research journal, as you've already learned, the format remains the same no matter what the assignment is. So you're going to get a copy of this handout. And of course, as always, you can also find it on Schoology. The handout very much explains sort of the anatomy of a sketch journal. So let's talk about some of the major parts of it. First of all, if you look in the black section, the black rectangle running along the far left side, you remember that you need to have 3 to 5 mini sketches of observational drawing. So ideally, you should have at least 5. Of those 5, 3 of them are have full value or shading, full and complete in any media you choose, but you should have a total of 5 drawings, then 3 of them must have shading. Number 2, you choose the media, the color, and the way that you're going to make the marks. In other words, are you going to use marker? Are you going to use ink? Are you going to use watercolor? Are you going to use a combination of those things with colored pencil? You may choose whatever you'd like, but you should show experimentation with mark making so that everything isn't always exactly the same. So try different marks, try different ways that you can control a colored pencil. Are there different usages and ways that you can use watercolor? Find different marks, use them successfully within the assignment. Annotated research. We've talked about this before, but annotated research is essentially notes. Notes that you can place throughout the sketchbook that tell us very clearly in words what it is you're trying to say in the research journal. So you'll want to make sure that you share those notes in there. You could be creative in how you put them in. They could be in speech bubbles, or they can be little call-out boxes with arrows. But you should be creative as an illustrator and an artist how you want to put those research boxes and work them in. The assignment that's on the screen currently, I'm going to shrink my box here or put myself to the side. You can see that the annotated research is in paragraph form, and it's got arrows that sort of suggest or point you to the pictures that you're looking at. So you'll want to think about creative ways that you can do that. Number 4, this one seems to be a little confusing, so I'll clarify this with a little bit more detail, hopefully. So it says there are 3 to 5 images of inspiration artists or work. So you could go online, find artists or find things that inspire the actual assignment that you choose to do. You could either print them on your own home printer, share them with me, I will gladly print them for you, cut them out and creatively work them into the design. Or if you don't want to use photo references, 3 to 5, you could draw another 3 to 5 drawings on your own. Those 3 to 5 do not have to have value, but they must be then drawings that you created based on observation. So it's in addition to the original 5 that's at the top of that same box. So I'm actually getting you to do at least 8 images, 5 that you draw, another 3 that you could either use from photograph or you could draw yourself. Unique in various textures. So don't just use the flat surface of the paper. Come up with ways to create implied texture. If you want it to look like wood, put wood grain in it. If you want it to look like water, make sure that there's glares and highlights. If you want it to look like a particular food, obviously we want the texture of that food. A strawberry has a very specific texture versus a piece of pasta. And the last one is an inquiry question, a question that sort of answers your sketchbook. So write it in a question form, think kind of like Jeopardy, write it in a question form, but in a big, bold title. It should be somewhere across the 2 pages of your journal so that we know what it is this sketch journal answers. What's the question it answers? So it is very much in a Jeopardy type format. So let's talk about the 3 options you have this time. And again, you'll see it on the handout that I have given to you, and it's also in Schoology. It's in the top right corner, sort of in that soft pastel teal box. And it's a census journal. So you're going to pick from one of the 3 senses, either taste, see, or texture. So in taste, I'm asking you to actually illustrate or design a recipe. It could be a recipe that's been passed down from your family. It could be a stupid, simple recipe you like to make for yourself. Maybe you like to make macaroni and cheese from the box. Well, you may have that macaroni and cheese recipe memorized and you know when to open the orange powdered pouch and when to dump it in and how you're going to get mac and cheese. It could be making a peanut butter and jelly. It doesn't have to be a complex recipe. It just needs to be breaking down the steps of that recipe and making it into something that is artistically beautiful. If you choose that answer or that option, here's a website that will help you. It's called They Draw and Cook. It's one of my favorite websites. It is all illustrated by graphic designers, artists, and illustrators, and they take some of their favorite recipes and they create it into these wonderful, beautiful illustrations. I'm going to shrink myself here So you can see this. So here is one they did with mulled cider, and you can see all the beautiful illustrations and the mark making they chose to do with watercolor to create the different parts of the recipe. You can see the annotated research and the fact that they've actually got the actual ingredients listed, and you'll actually see then circled in sort of in the bottom right third corner, you can see it tells you how long to simmer it or infuse it so that it tastes correctly. One of my other favorite options in the Draw and Cook is if you hit the search button and you put in ingredients. So let's say I wanted avocado because let's say your art teacher is obsessed with avocados, and I type in avocados and I hit the find it button. I can find all of the recipes that have been illustrated with avocados. While you shouldn't copy the designs and the illustrations, you might get it as an inspiration. Here's an avocado poke bowl you can see on your screen. And again, sometimes they have kids doing them, sometimes they have adults. Here's an epic summer salad, again with avocado. You see the annotated research. You can see that they were so smart, they actually put it on the table. It's like a picnic with a summer festive background. Here's one that's very different. It's actually done sort of knolling style where it's organized into little boxes. So you can choose to do it however you want. Here's a protein packed salad. My favorite is the avocado toast one. I don't know if I'm going to, there's honey mustard chicken salad with avocado. I like the angry chicken looking like he's handing over his relatives to eat for the chicken. But you'll see everything. There's avocado chocolate mousse. There are some really far out funny recipes, but it's a great resource and it might be of an inspiration to you. So that's the first option. Option 2 is a travel journal. I want you to think of a place you either dream location you'd like to go or a place that you've actually traveled to. And I want you to create a 2-page travel journal about that location. Again, put the big statement, the big title in the form of a question. So if my statement question is, what would I see if I traveled to Denver, Colorado? That's a question. And then my travel journal explains all the different places, locations, trivia, information about traveling to Denver, Colorado. What would happen if I traveled to the Great Wall of China? Well, what would you see? I want to see that in the answer in your travel journal. So that's option 2, and that's all about seeing. And the third one is about texture, inside the minds of 5 friends. So I want you to illustrate the faces and heads of 5 different friends. And then coming out of those heads, I want anything you could think about that relates to those people. But it should have a lot of texture. So if I have a person who has a big mouth and says whatever comes on their mind, maybe I have the top of the head bursting open, and inside the head, I have all these wonderful things about them. I could use buttons, I could use found objects, I could use safety pins, I could use funny speech bubbles that are slightly dimensional. I could actually collect magazine clippings and things that would explain who they are, maybe their favorite band, maybe weird things that they say, maybe actually fabrics of clothing that may be their fashion style. Whatever you'd like, but you need to tell me what would I see inside the mind of your 5 friends. And again, all 3 of these are options, but they still should follow what's going on the far left black rectangle. They must meet all the requirements. And as always, you'll have class time to experiment, to ask me questions, to find out information. And you should be able to try new materials and new process. And you'll get 2 in-class days minimum, maybe even 3, depending on how our schedule works to work on them. And you will have approximately then about a month and a half to complete them. I'll have the due date listed in Schoology. I'll have all of this information listed along the side where it says upcoming in your calendar. And if you have any questions, as always, let me know. I can't wait to see your results.